Hello everyone, it's Courtney Shavante here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I do moving forward. Alright, so how we're going to get started is we're going to make sure that you start off with a clean mold. You're going to fill the rim of that mold with about 30 milliliters of your clear resin. Make sure that it is bubble free. You're going to see me go through with a toothpick around where those dips are in the rim because the bubbles can pull up there, so I'm just making sure I pop them. And I'm also using my heat gun to make others rise to the surface and just kind of thin this resin out a bit as well. Makes it easier to prep for the chain trim that we will be adding to this rim. Alright, now here's the chain rim that I will be using today. It has some gold chain links with some pearls inserted. I'm just making sure that's nice and flat, well, as flat as I can across the rim, and I am using my craft stick to just kind of adjust that and poke everything into place. You'll see me making little slight adjustments and also making sure that it's nice and covered and soaked in the resin. That helps any bubbles that do get trapped when you're placing this rim to escape as well. Go through with your heat gun again, and boom, we're going to let that cure for a bit. Alright, so I went ahead and took this over to my desk, and I am getting some gold colored mica powder and a paintbrush. I'm just going to brush that mica powder onto the base of this tray, and that's going to create a nice little metallic tray base at the bottom of your ashtray, so it'll be a different color than what's going on the rest of the tray. I'm being careful to not go too far over the edges because since it is a dust powder, it is pretty easy for it to kind of spread and fall over onto the side. Try to prevent that as much as you can. It also helps to use a brush that has more of a straight edge to it, so that way it's not kind of flopping off the sides so easily. Alright, so once I make sure it's covered and everything, I got all those spaces filled, I'm just going to go over in the same direction to make sure that it's not looking all crazy and everything after the casting. I'm also picking up that extra dust powder and putting it back inside the package because there's no need for it to just sit there. So yeah, this is what I mean, going in those stripes all the way, those swipes all the way across to make sure it's not, all streaky looking. Alright, so now I'm going back over here to my little workstation, and then I'm going to mix up about 50 milliliters of this black resin right here. I'm going to make sure that I stir it well. I put the mica powder in first, and then I just take the same craft stick, and that's what I'm going to be stirring with. Alright, so make sure that's mixed up very well. Since it's a powder, you don't want the bubbles to form, so make sure you get those bubbles out. Also mixed in some of that black opaque resin because I do want it to not be see-through. The mica powder, if you don't add enough, then it can get see-through, but you gotta be careful with your ratios. So I heat that up, make sure it's thinned out and all the bubbles are removed from it. And I'm going to start pouring into the rim part first. That's just going to help make sure that the mica powder that may be a little bit loose on the base doesn't just transfer and slide all the way down to where the rim is. And it may just mix in a bit more versus going towards the front where you'll see it at. So I'm making sure I scrape out all of the black resin because, as I said, no resin left behind. This stuff is expensive, so save your resources. Okay, after I get that all out of the cup and everything, I'm going to just take my heat gun and go over, make sure it's nice and level, spray with that alcohol to remove any bubbles, and we're going to let that cure. All right, after that has a chance to cure, you're going to go ahead and prep about 25 milliliters of resin. You're going to pour that off into a cup. From there, you're just going to take your glitter mix. I mixed this up previously off camera, and you're going to just dump that on inside that clear resin. It is a lot of glitter, so it's probably about half and half. So I mixed that up really well, making sure to get the bubbles out because that glitter will trap the bubbles. So use that heat gun as well. After I finish stirring, just go ahead and pour that on top in an even layer. You know, make sure it's nice and thick. You want the glitter to kind of cover the back and everything, so it's a nice little shimmery background. From there, I added just a tiny bit more because the first time I poured 20, not the whole 25 like I told you guys in the beginning. So yeah. So I'm pouring that on top to make sure I get all the glitter out of that cup, and also to make sure it's evened out and to the top of the tray mold. Not all the way to the tippy top, but it's close to the top before it starts spilling over. Blast it with that heat gun. That's going to help maneuver your glitter around, make sure it's not all rising to the top. And then of course spray with that alcohol and just kind of alternate a bit, so that way you can make sure that you get that glitter moved around using that toothpick and there's no air bubbles, and you have a nice cute back. Alright, so our next step is we're going to go ahead and make sure that's nice and hard. Wiggle that from your tray mold, and then from there you're going to be able to pop that ashtray right on out. Boom. Alright, there we go. So this is what we have here. I think this turned out very beautiful. Now we did get a nice little sharp edge, so we're going to be taking our sanding block and we're just going to be sanding that down. Now when you put liquid into a container, it creates a curved edge on the side, and that's called the meniscus. So overall, that's the meniscus effect. It just creates a sharp edge when the resin cures, because since it goes from liquid to solid, it's going to cure with that hard edge, and we're just going to sand that down here so no one cuts their fingers or anything like that, and we don't want it scraping any furniture either. Alright, after we get that sand down and make sure it's nice and smooth, you're going to get a wet rag. You're just going to damp it down a bit. You don't want it too wet to where it leaves wet stains. And you're just going to wipe all across that tray, making sure that you remove all of that dust. Yeah, get it nice and clean, and also clean off your workstation. Wipe, wipe, wipe. Wipe, wipe, wipe. Wipe your tray. Wipe your tray. Alright, so this is what we have here. She turned out beautifully. This is a beautiful, nice little simple Luxe black and gold ashtray with some embellishment. This is perfect for someone who wants an ashtray and they want it blinged out, but they don't necessarily want anything too colorful. It has a nice little classic look. If you do like this tutorial and you love this ashtray as much as I did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button for me. Also leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. Your comments really make me laugh, and so do your emails and stuff. Make sure you also follow my socials if you do want to, just see a bit more from me. And like I said, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss anything else that I have coming up. I can't wait to see you guys again. Look forward for my next tutorials. I got some great stuff coming. All right, now, see you later.